It's happening, boys. It is happening. So the other day we covered a story that 4chan were going to be fighting back against the Online Safety Act. And to give you all some context what was happening, the UK government were trying to fine 4chan for not complying with the Online Safety Act, for not collecting identification, for not requiring people to submit their IDs. And obviously 4chan, being logical about the whole situation, went, well, we're based in America. Why are we complying with UK laws? And the UK government were actually going after 4chan and trying to fine them for not actually implementing all of these dystopian regulations. Now, we've just seen confirmation that 4chan launches legal action against Ofcom in the US. So there's a few different levels to this. You've got Ofcom, which of course regulate and monitor the law, and basically they check for the compliance with the law. The UK government obviously is the regulator. They make sure that the laws go into effect and companies are effectively penalised for not upholding the law. And then you got 4chan sat at the bottom doing the Lord's work. But before we get into this article, if you're tired of restricted content and you want to remain private online, make sure to check out Private Internet Access. It's a VPN that has one subscription that works across all of your devices, allows you to remain private whilst using the internet, and also allows you to access restricted content in various different countries around the world. It's also absolutely rapid. With my link down below or this QR code up here, you can get yourselves 4 months free and 86% off. Now back to the video. Lawyers representing the controversial online forums 4chan and Kiwi Farms have filed a legal case against the UK Online Safety Act enforcer Ofcom. Their legal complaint, filed in a Washington DC federal court, seeks a legal ban on the UK communications regulator enforcing or attempting to enforce the Online Safety Act against them in the US, which is good. Very good. American citizens do not surrender our constitutional rights just because Ofcom sends us an email. The thing is, this is so true. Obviously, it's a UK law and it's already a dystopian and crazy law as it is, but the internet is accessible worldwide, apart from countries that go really dystopian with it. We're heading that way. We're heading that way. But the requirements that Ofcom and the UK government have set out would require every single online business and every single company in the world to actually implement those dystopian requirements to collect passport information. Ofcom told the BBC, we're aware of this lawsuit. Under the Online Safety Act, any service that has links with the UK now has duties to protect UK users, no matter where in the world it's based. I don't need saving. I don't need Ofcom, you don't need to protect. I can protect myself. Problem solved. Online Safety Act overturned. We're all better off. What is this like white knighting we're seeing from Ofcom? Leave us alone. Just fuck off. A service doesn't need to be based in the UK to be subject to the Act and therefore face action from Ofcom. It could be enough for it to have a significant number of UK users or to have the UK as a target market. Now that's actually not true. According to the rules and regulations that are set out for businesses that maybe host content that is inappropriate, if they have any number of UK visitors, they're being required to implement this. Any number, not a large amount, one. But 4chan's lawyers went to the US court to rule that US business with no presence in the UK are not subject to British legislation. Fact. They also want to declare that the Online Safety Act is at odds with the US Constitution's free speech protections, which it is. It is. You Americans are so lucky, man. You're so lucky. Lawyers for online message board 4chan recently told the BBC that Ofcom had provisionally decided to impose a £20,000 fine with daily penalties thereafter for failing to comply with 2 requests for information. And those 2 requests for information were requests for information about individual users. And we don't know the details of those requests, but already the Online Safety Act has been attempted to be abused by the UK government to request private information from us. The very thing that they're saying that we're being protected against is the thing that the UK government's doing to try and penalise people. It's absurd. Now, we're only hearing about this because obviously it's a big lawsuit with 4chan, but imagine how many other companies that right now the UK government and the intelligence services, imagine how many companies they're contacting to request private information. Imagine. The US legal case is being brought on behalf of 4chan Community Support LLC and Lolcow LLC, that's such a good name, the corporate entities behind 4chan and online forum Kiwi Farms. So what are the goals of their legal case? What do they want to try and achieve? Well, according to the article, it says that it seeks to restrain Ofcom's conduct with its continuing egregious violations of American civil rights, including, without limitation, to the right of freedom of speech. Ronald Coleman of the Coleman law firm, which is also acting for the plaintiffs 4chan and Kiwi Farms, said his clients were defending the free speech rights of every American. Now, I've used this argument in a previous video, but for example, say if I was to import a product from overseas, no matter what it is, but say if that product was manufactured to regulations in that country, if I import it to the UK government shouldn't be able to go back to that company and say, actually, you're not manufacturing this to UK spec. If the intention isn't to appeal to a British audience or to have the product featured in the UK, then these companies should not have to comply with the Online Safety Act or comply with any regulation in the UK. Like, this is next level policing the internet, and it's the level of policing the internet that, once again, the Online Safety Act is just a gateway. This is going to get substantially and significantly worse over time. Now, what happens if 4chan win? That is a point that I've been thinking about for the past couple of hours and thinking about the precedent that that might set. Now, with the precedent for this, I think that's the most important thing. Basically, if this can put Ofcom in their place and say, actually, you can't be doing this to American companies, we'll find that a lot of the American services that we use, which, let's be honest, pretty much most of the internet is at this point, a lot of the American services that we use won't be required to actually implement the Online Safety Act. However, there is a very scary downside to this. Fucking terrifying downside. If, and this is a big if this works and if 4chan win, the UK government might try and do something like IP bans for these various services, i.e. banning TikTok, Facebook, whatever it might be. They might be trying to do IP bans for this stuff because that's the next logical step to make it not accessible in the UK. And in that case, boys, VPNs. And obviously, I know I promote private internet access and they're my favorite, they're my go-to. But when it comes to using VPNs, at this point, it doesn't matter what you use, just make it look like you're not in the UK. Just whatever the government try and do, because the next step to this is banning services. And that's I'm going to say it again, and you guys are going to call me out for it. That's exactly what China are doing. Scary world we live in, boys and girls. Scary world we live in. But it's happening. It's happening. So I'll keep you all updated with what happens with 4chan, whether they win this. I'm going to be following it step by step. I've also actually reached out to some people that are involved in this to try and get some statements. So yeah, subscribe, keep yourself in the know. Make sure you check out private internet access at the QR code there or the link down below. And thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next one.